Hey, what's going on, sis? And our Black Girl Mob universe. I want to welcome you to another fire episode of Black Girl Mob Pod, where we are featuring Black women founders from across the country who are doing amazing things. And they are just stepping out and leading in their industries. Of course, you already know Black Girl Mob is all about creating a spotlight, Black women founders in the United States and in Canada, guys. And so we want to make sure that you know who these sisters are because they're just changing the game everywhere. And I'm super excited for tonight to introduce you guys to a sister that I've known now for, oh goodness, several years. And we started back, I think we met through Lamar Tyler and Traffic Sales and Profits. Shout out to Lamar and Roddy Tyler and Traffic Sales and Profits. Y'all know they are incredible coaches. But we connected through there and just stayed in touch. And she was an integral part of our WOMB community, our Women Owned Minority Businesses Network community. And, she's been a mob boss from day one. In fact, when I met her, I was like, man, I got to make sure I stay connected with this sister because she's absolutely incredible, all the way from the great state of California. I want to introduce you guys to my sister, Emily Woodman-Nance. Emily, go ahead and come on to this camera, sis, and let me get you on here. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. What is going on? What is
Exciting things are going on with me. And first
yes,
of all, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to have been on the ride with you this long. And I'm
man,
excited. I'm excited about Black Girl Mob though.
me too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you already know the sisters that came over from womb, the leadership that came over were already doing amazing things, and we're about to do something so incredible for women really all over this country that that I don't even think they're ready. They have no idea what's about to happen. So
It's like
we're excited.
watch out
Yes,
the world.
exactly. Unapologetic. And you are coming from California. So this is an East Coast, West Coast conversation. Y'all know I'm always in Virginia. So
Mhm.
it's exciting. I guess, technology that allows us to have connections with folks anywhere and everywhere. So uh, look,
Right.
20 years ago, we would not have known each other.
That
So,
is that is so
you
true.
know,
That is so true.
so it's exciting. It's exciting. I want everybody to really, give an idea of who you are,
Mhm.
your background, and then we'll get into the business after that. But just tell us a little bit about yourself, the family about yourself. Let us know, who you are. Who is Emily all about?
Okay. So as you can see, I'm Emily Woodman-Nance. And yeah, before I start talking about the business, I will give you background about me. I'm actually born and raised in South Central LA. A lot of people
Well,
don't
yeah.
know. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, but yes, born and raised in South Central LA. I love technology. It's like I took a programming class in the 12th grade and I went home. I'm like, how much money can I make? What industry can I work in? Where can I live? And I'm like, that's what I'm going to major in. So I've spent all my life in technology, like
Okay.
working for corporate America. I've done delivered tech solutions to private organizations, even to the FBI. So I've done a little bit
What?
of this, a little bit of that. Yeah.
Come through. Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. So, I mean, what made you, even as a kid, what made you so drawn to technology?
Well, what it was? Okay, because that wasn't what I was gonna do when I was a kid.
Okay.
I'll tell you, when I was 6 years old, I wrote about how I was gonna be a world-renowned dermatologist. In high school, like my 10th, 11th, yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a dermatologist. I had it all figured out. I had my whole life mapped out. So in high school, I had the choice to go to different high schools, but I decided to go
Mm,
to Centennial High School. I don't know if you ever
okay.
heard of it. You ever heard of Kendrick Lamar, stuff like that?
Yeah,
Centennial
yeah, of
High.
course,
I
of
went
course,
to
right.
that Centennial High School. So
Wow, okay.
yeah, so I was going to be this world-renowned dermatologist. So they had a program called MedCourse. So I spent
Uh-huh.
half of the day at Compton College and then half of the day on campus. And then I also went to a hospital to actually learn and do. And one day a nurse tapped me on the shoulder and she said, "This isn't the profession for you." And I'm like, "What? What is the problem?" And then I realized what
A
the problem was.
dream killer, dream killer.
Yeah, but what it was, every time I saw an older adult, I would start crying, and the nurse happened to be in the room with the older adult, and the older adult
Uh-huh.
got out of their bed and came and hugged me and said, "I'm okay, baby." So I was like, "Oh my gosh, all my dreams, all my aspirations to be in this world with dermatologist is over. What am I gonna do?" So in the
Right.
12th grade, I took a programming class, and I've always been this child where I always wanted to figure out how things worked, you
Okay.
know?
Okay.
So I was like, "Oh, okay. I like this programming because I'm like, it's not smart."
Mhm. Mhm.
I mean, it the way it worked is that you gave it logic and it worked, and if you didn't give it the right it did not work. And I
Right.
was
Okay.
like, "Okay." I said, "I can't be this world renowned dermatologist, but I could still build things that could help people in life."
Right.
And so I was like, and I could figure out things, which I
Okay.
like to do. So that's what I was like, "I'm gonna major in that." And I've been with it ever since, and I loved it, and I've worked in so many different industries, and I've been able to do things and work in industries where I could actually help a lot of people. So there you have it.
Got you. All right. So even though you are not the world renowned, your skin looks great, by the way. Something stuck, right? You're not the world renowned dermatologist, but found that thing that you could be passionate about, and that you just had that
Yeah.
skill set that you didn't even know was in you. You in one direction, and the Lord was like, "Nah, we're gonna send you over here." So that's cool. I love it.
Mhm.
Pretty
Yeah.
cool. All right,
So
all right. So you switched over into this new field. How did
mhm.
you end up with at their side?
Okay, it's beautiful about At Their Side. When I think about it, I think it really goes back to my childhood and my love for older adults because I always loved
Mhm.
them. That's why I was doing all that crying. And the reason
Right,
why
right.
I was going to be a world renowned dermatologist is because my grandfather died in a house fire. And I
Oh
felt
my
like
god.
if I was a dermatologist, they do the skin grafts, he probably would have
Right,
lived. So that
right, right.
that
Okay.
was that.
Yeah. Oh my
And
god.
then I had older parents, and everybody thought that they were my grandparents, and so
Mm,
it's like I always had that love. So
mhm,
even as my parents when I wrote when I was 6 years old, I said that I was gonna take care of my parents when I got older, and I'm so
mhm.
thankful I had the opportunity to take care of each one of my quit my job, I moved home, and I took care of each one of them as they went through what they had to do until they actually
Right,
transitioned. And
right.
so with At Their Side, what was different, my mother-in-law, I'm in California, she lives in Washington, DC, yep, East
Mhm.
Coast,
Okay.
Southeast DC.
All right. All
And
right.
so but we ended up having to put her in a skilled nursing facility,
Mhm.
and it was just so hard getting those timely updates, which became
Mm,
frustrating, and then when I
mhm,
did go visit, I saw they they were overloaded with, phone inquiries, and then some
mhm.
people would even stop them in the hallway, me, and
Right.
ask them questions and stop them, and then
Right, right.
I was like, "Wait a minute, I got this technology background, I deliver all these tech solutions for all these companies and stuff like that." I'm
Mhm,
like, "Why can't I develop this platform?" So I came up with At Their Side, and I named it At Their Side because I wanted family members to know it doesn't matter whether your loved one is in a facility around the corner or over
mhm.
2,000 miles away, no matter where they are, you're always at their side. So
Right, right.
you're always going to be there. You're going to get the communication that you need, and it
Mhm,
doesn't cost the staff doing any extra work. It's just
mhm,
technology in the background that are giving
mhm.
you those updates so you have peace of mind. The staff has the extra time to give your loved one the quality of care that they deserve. So there you
That's
have it.
that's incredible, 'cause now my I'm passionate about when it comes to dealing with seniors. I'm a full-time caregiver myself, taking care of, my mom and dad, and yeah, that communication is vital. It's vital. There's so much that's happening all the time with them, and especially if
Mhm.
you're not in the same space, even if you're down the street, if you're not with them,
Mhm.
there's just so much that can be missed, and time is of the essence when you're dealing with seniors, or anybody with any
Mhm.
type of, that requires any type of long-term care. So tell us exactly what does the platform entail?
Well, the platform, it entails quite a bit. It
Mhm,
started out as communication, so I'll talk about the communication piece because we have built it out. So basically, just think about it like for your loved one, whoever you're taking care of. Maybe you want to know how much how much breakfast did they eat on a particular day? What percentage?
mm,
What
mhm,
percentage of lunch did they eat? And then if they have activities, like, did they participate in the activities or not? Was there
mhm,
like a change in their medication? Did they get a new doctor's order? Are you aware of that? So you'll be
mhm,
aware of that. Maybe you have questions that you want to ask the facility, and sometimes calling them, they may take a while. You could actually submit your question, and then they could actually respond to you. You can get like vitals also to
mm,
see like,
mhm.
what's that blood sugar level? What does that look like? Instead of
Right,
calling,
right.
because they take that multiple times for a day, instead of calling them every, like first thing in the morning, in the afternoon, and
Mhm.
everything, you'll get that information. So it covers things of that sort.
Wow, and that is absolutely incredible, especially if it's, the just time-wise up to date, and that will save the staff time from having
Mhm.
to answer all the calls, and so, yeah, that's absolutely
Yeah.
absolutely incredible.
Yeah, because most of the time people are calling about, the same type of information over and over,
Right.
and if you could just give them access to that, they could look at it whenever they want to. Plus, they can get push notifications. So if they want to get push notifications when information is updated, then they can actually get that too and be notified immediately.
Gotcha.
So that's my
Alright, so
special.
we're gonna go ahead and get into what we call our deep dive, guys, and deep dive is giving us a really opportunity to understand the background, the soul of a business. And so with Emily, there's just a couple things I want to talk to you about when it comes to at your side and really your process of developing this. So, you know, when you started the company in the beginning, what were some of your early challenges?
The big thing was getting somebody to say yes. That was a big but the problem was, since my mother-in-law was in a skilled nursing facility, I was trying to go after skilled nursing facilities and not realizing that they are not early adopters. They are not trying to take on any of this
Right.
technology from a newcomer. So that was that was hard. It was like I felt like I was beating my head against a wall, and then
Mhm,
once I actually stepped back and like, "Wait a minute, there's other long-term care settings," and once I actually opened it up to that, in
mhm.
about 2 months, I had a letter of intent for to pilot at their site. So,
Right.
it was good to go after that and actually build with one of our current subscribers.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, getting that letter of intent is
Mhm.
exciting, right? You're like, oh, here. So from there, how many
Mhm.
facilities have you been able to partner with?
We have right now, we have about 5 facilities, so we're working on more now. We had to go through the process of all the pilot testing and
Right.
everything and converted them to pay subscribers, and then we even won with one of our customers, we actually won an award from this it's like the go-to for long-term care
Hmm.
news, where we won in the category for building bridges. So,
Absolutely incredible.
mhm,
Absolutely fantastic, fantastic. So now let's look at it from the viewpoint of being a Black woman in this space, because it doesn't sound like, first of all, technology period is a space that we traditionally weren't in, right? in large numbers. We have, historically had sisters that, we've learned about over time that we didn't know they were there. Later on we found that we have all these sisters that have been in all kinds of things in technology space, but it
Right.
traditionally wasn't a space for us, and especially a space where we were at least welcome. So, what are some of the lessons that you've had to learn in this particular industry, whether it's, the technology industry or even the healthcare industry as a Black woman, some of the lessons you've had to learn in those spaces?
What I had to learn is to really know my stuff. I whatever I know or whatever I do, I know it so well that if you wake me up at 2 o'clock in the morning, I could do it, I could say it,
Right.
and
Like the
I could
back of your
perform it.
hand. Right.
Yeah. So that's what I learned. And to also to be bold, to act like you own the room,
Right.
that you're someone that they want to know, oh, who is she? What what is she doing? So I learned that too. It's like command the room, know your stuff, be confident, and the biggest thing for me is there aren't any walls because people always say think outside the box. I've never
Right.
thought that way. I just see a sea of unlimited possibilities. So
Right. That
just
box, we tend to create that box ourselves. There's
yeah.
somebody saying think outside the box. What box? Exactly.
Right, I'm not in a box. So I
Right.
always thought that way, and I always what I learned was to envision where I wanted to be and set those goals and then work toward those goals. So I was always like moving up and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be dealing with people at the sea level. Forget all of this
Right.
lower level stuff." And I was bold. It's like I always had a mentor too. That's what I learned
Hmm.
to have a mentor where I
Yes.
worked. I would always get like the CIO, the CTO to be my
Yeah.
mentor and just ask, "Will you be my mentor?" And it's like, are they going to really say no? Don't we say
Right.
and they say yes. And then that helped my career too.
Absolutely. And having that, I always look at mentors as your GPS, right? You
Mm,
have somebody that's already gone through
mhm.
this process, whether it's with this company or with the industry itself. So having that mentor in
Yeah,
those spaces, it's now curious, were your mentors also Black women, or were you mentored by others?
by others,
Hmm.
by
Hmm.
others.
Hmm.
I was not it was like who was there and who could
Right.
help me, guide me.
Exactly.
That's who I chose. And also, I had this concept that I always stated and lived where I would say I'm the CEO of me, and I always act as if I was a consultant for every company that I work
Yes.
for. Like, what do I want to get out of it? What is my exit strategy?
Hmm.
Everything where I plan. So that
Right.
helped me out a lot too.
Absolutely. And I asked you that because, lots of times with sisters, sometimes we want to only work within our spaces. And even with, Black Girl Mob, it's, obviously a system for Black women, but we also have to recognize that once we leave our space, we're not always going to be in spaces where we're present. And I know from conversations that you and I have had, we've been in spaces where we're the only person
Mhm.
that looks like us. And so it can be intimidating, but we have to be able to, just like you said, I love that. I love the idea that you're the CEO of me. Right.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
when you're in those spaces, you have to command that and present yourself in that way. And that's why those mentors said yes to you. Not because they're just like, "Are we gonna help out this little Black girl?" What? No, you when you present yourself in that way,
Right.
how they gonna say no? Like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? How they gonna
That's true, because even, like, my managers, like, I would like, vacation, you know how people would submit or ask for vacation?
Yeah.
He said, "You're not even asking, you pretty much telling me." I said, "Well, I guess so. Yeah, I am. I'm telling you, I'm taking all stuff."
Here are my dates. Okay.
Right. That's how
The
I did
tickets have
it.
already been purchased. I'm just letting you know. Okay.
Right. Yeah, most of my career, pretty much Yeah, the majority of it, I was like a lot of times I was the only woman or
Mhm.
the only black or the
Mhm.
only black woman. And
Right.
so I just knew how to just be bold. And I think
Mhm.
it also goes back to like my childhood. I think my parents for giving me nicknames. My mom named me Tiger, and a tiger is independent, brave,
Yes. Yes.
energetic. And then my dad, he named me Boss Lady. So I'm like, yeah, I get stuff done. So get out my way. I'm brave and independent. So I just carried that with me throughout my life, and I just go back to that. I'm like, yeah, I'm brave. I'm
That's right.
independent. I get stuff done. Get out my way. Here,
Right.
this is
Because
what we're gonna do.
who's going to ignore a tiger walking in the room? Okay. You
Right.
can't ignore a tiger walking in the room.
Right, cause I have walked into establishments, like, I walked into this one Starbucks, and they thought I was, like, from corporate or whatever. They came to me, they're like, "Okay, do you need anything?"
Right.
I said, "What are you talking about?" They said, "Well, ju" I s they said, "Aren't you from corporate?" I said, "No." They said, "Well, the way you walked in here."
Right. Right. Taking
I
notes, scanning
Yeah,
the room.
yeah, I said, "Well, you gotta own it."
Exact. Oh, I love that. That is hilarious.
Just
Oh
own it.
man, own it. Exactly. So how do you feel like, especially being an entrepreneur, that you're coming from corporate America? Now,
Mhm.
how has this process changed you personally?
Okay, that's a good question. The the on the way I see that it changed me is that I'm bolder. I'm just
Mhm.
bolder now. I'm even more bolder than I thought, yeah, than I was before. And
Mhm.
so I don't second guess my decisions or anything like that.
Right.
I just move forward. Because a lot of people will want you to do things differently, or they
Mhm.
even tell you that it's not gonna work.
Right.
So that's for me. I just feel like I'm even bolder because people talk about and they like, oh, you just drive up to places and do stuff. Like, yeah. The only thing they can say to me is no, but no
Right.
to me is like it's like a slow yes. That's
A
the way
slow
I
yes.
it's like a
Look,
yeah. It's
a slow
like,
yes. Right.
yeah.
It's just not right now.
Right, or it's like, or do you know somebody else?
Right.
Can can you give me a referral?
Exactly.
But yeah, and then I learned not to ask to wait for permission.
Mm.
I move forward on things. I'm like, I don't need permission. It's like, we can apologize later, but I'm gonna
Right.
move forward on what I think is right. And then I just create my own path, and I've just carried that mindset into
Mhm.
entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. And you have to have that in this space because as an entrepreneur, I mean, you're entering a space where people are self-starters. And so if you're coming into the entrepreneurial world and you're shy to ask questions, shy to walk through the door, shy to ask for that referral, you're not going to last very long. Either, there isn't somebody above you who's going to handle it for you. So you have to have that no nonsense attitude when you're approaching stuff like that because oh, you ain't gonna make it. Okay.
That
That's what
is
we say.
true.
You're
That
not
is
gonna
true.
make it in this
And
space.
you're not. And some of the people in my space, they call me they like to refer to me the queen of networking. They think I should teach a class and stuff like that. But
Look,
it's like you just
man,
gotta know what you're doing when you going out there. It's like have a
you
clear
gotta teach the
plan.
class. Teach
Like
the look, I love teaching that.
you
So
like teach a class. You like teach
look, people
just
and so many people are coming into
mhm.
entrepreneurship now, and they're coming from corporate America, and they where you don't necessarily have to network. And so when you
Oh.
all of a sudden in the networking space, that yeah, you gotta it's a skill. Networking is definitely a skill. Everybody you walk into the room is not necessarily gonna be your customer. So how
True.
am I going to, when I meet this person, I have to determine what kind of relationship am I going to have with this person? Is this person going
Mhm.
to be a customer? Which is always fine, right? We always like a good
Mhm.
customer. That might be a referral source. That might be a partner. That might be an affiliate. They might just introduce you to the next person. So Yeah, we need to teach.
Yes,
We need
you
to
need
teach
to
that
teach. Yeah,
networking.
I used to teach. I used to teach that, but I taught it to. Yeah, I used to teach it because I used to be a career coach and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to teach networking and things of that sort.
Yes,
But the main thing, what do whenever I go networking, I already have some goals set out,
you
and
have
then
to.
when I get there, it's like, oh, I'm like, oh, I already completed that one and that one. I'm like, mission accomplished.
Right.
Then I'll say, okay, I'll do like a little bonus thing. I may stay a little bit longer, but I it's always mission accomplished.
You have to walk in with a plan. Otherwise, you end up talking to everybody, and you don't need to talk to everybody. I don't want to talk to everybody when I walk into a networking space. So I know exactly what I'm trying to do, who I'm trying to meet, the type of people I'm looking for. And once I'm
Mhm.
done, I can go. I no, I
Exactly.
don't need, I don't want to
Exactly.
schmooze. I don't want to schmooze
Exactly.
with people.
Yeah, but maybe I'll do that because I do have curriculum. I do know how to do it. I used to take people out and I used to teach them how to network
Hmm.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah, I knew that was one thing we did with womb, and that's something I still do in our space. Just giving people. Yeah, I love teaching. Like I call it the 6-second value statement. Don't talk to me for
mhm,
5 minutes. Tell me
mhm.
what you got to do, who you are, who you help, what the result is, and let's move on. And I'll decide whether we're gonna have a fuller conversation.
Yeah,
Girl, they will talk you to death.
I
Okay.
know. Oh, I went to this one event and I had a friend go with me and she afterwards she said, Emily, do you realize what happened? She said, you never stood up. She said, people came to you because they wanted to
Mhm.
know who you were and all like that. And then
Yeah,
they were trying to figure out how they could help you. She said, you never
exactly.
got up for like a whole hour. I never got up. It was like one person after another. It was,
You're a magnet. You're a magnet. You don't have to go out and hunt. Everybody's coming straight to. I love that. Everybody's coming straight to you. Coming. So now we we get this information out. We want folks to know who you are. How do they contact you? I know you're on socials and all that good stuff. We're gonna make sure that you have Emily's links to everything. But what's the best way for them to contact you if they're interested in and at their side or anything that you're working on?
okay, they can always go to my website at theirside.com and get in contact with me. If they want to email me directly, they can do that too at ewoodman at theirside.com. And then I know you're going to give them my links too, where
Oh
they can
yeah,
actually get in contact
all
with me
the
too.
all the
But
links. Yes.
but yeah, I'm available.
What are you looking for right now? If there's somebody in our audience right now listening that has something that you are specifically looking for, what are you looking for right now that would be a benefit to you and your business?
Okay. What I'm looking for, I'm looking for contacts. If you know contacts like for assisted living communities or a care provider or even a senior care placement professional who could benefit from better communication with families. I think everybody needs that.
Right.
And I would truly appreciate an introduction because as you could tell, this work is very personal for
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
and we're building solutions that making a significant difference in people's lives, staff,
Absolutely.
loved
Okay.
ones, and the
Yeah.
and the seniors.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, y'all heard that. So she is looking for those introductions to
Mhm.
the facilities, to care providers. Now, look, I had some pop up in my head right now, so I'm gonna make sure I
See, there
connect
you
you. See,
go.
but you have to, as you don't ask, people don't know. So we got to make sure we put that ask out there. All right, so let's wrap this up with our big bold statement for Black Girl Mob. Because I'm gonna ask everybody to answer the same question to fill in the blank. So if more Black women understood blank, everything would shift.
Oh my goodness. If more Black women understood their value and didn't feel like they had to build alone,
Mm,
everything would shift. Because we don't have to
girl,
do it by ourselves. We do
mm,
not.
girl, that I got it. I can do this all by myself. No, no, you can't.
Mm-mm.
No, no.
No, Yeah, because we work too much in a silo. We need a
Yes,
community. We need each other. We could collaborate with each other. Come on. We could, you know,
absolutely.
you never know that one person in that community may be the key to you scaling significantly.
Absolutely. That's it. That's it. I love it. Sis, I thank you so much for jumping on camera with me this evening. And I cannot wait to make sure that the community and our worldwide network knows who you are and who what at your side is, because you are providing a service that is so very valuable to families, really across the world. And so we wish you much, much, much success. And we're excited to see you at the top. Thank you so much for joining me this evening.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Okay. Okay, where's my button? Okay, there you go. I'm like, what?